Okay, so here I will read and summarize data in SPSS. Start by opening your syntax. Then the first thing we'll do is basically let SPSS know where to find the CVS file, or basically setting the file directory. Then we'll set this. And next we will actually uh, get the CVS file into the SPSS. CSV file. Sorry. Now put the variables in, and then we will let SPSS automatically um, change the variables. And we will use execute to make the command run quicker. I let then actually run it. Then here the data set is open and correctly loaded. And then now we want to run frequencies on the job zone variable. Go ahead and run this. And then in our output, we can see how job load 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. One would represent the least amount of preparation needed, and 5 would require uh, extensive preparation required. In our data, we see how not a lot in the little preparation, and most of our data is in 2, 3, 4, and 5, with the most being 2. And then now what we want to do is create descriptives for conscientiousness. We want to run the default kurtosis and skewness as well. Go ahead and run this. Here we see there's 879 cases, with the lowest being 3.3, the highest value being 4.95, the average with mean being 4.39, standard deviation around 2.7, which isn't too far away from the mean. We see slight zero point 0.6 negative skewness, so a little bit of the data is on the right. And then for the kurtosis, again, very slight at zero point 0.3. So it would kind of represent a leptokurtic, just just a little bit in the distribution. And then now we want to use the explore function to basically evaluate the descriptives. And we want to put it into each of the different job zones as well. We use examine, which is the same as explore function. Plots. Show the extreme values, the descriptive zone. And so we don't want to show total. Then we can set our confidence levels. Go ahead and run this. First table, we get something similar for the frequencies that we saw earlier. And now we can see how it is that the descriptors are split into each different job zone level, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you see similar things, mean, the trend mean, which if you take out some data points, which is the new mean, the median, which is the middle value, the variance and standard deviation, which are pretty low. The lowest value, the maximum value, or the highest value, the range, which is that's subtracted by that, the quartile range, and we can see the skewness is positive skewness, so just a tiny bit of the data is on the left, but and then the kurtosis is slightly negative at 0.365. So the data doesn't seem super off of the normality, at least for the first one. Moving down to the second one, see a similar pattern. Skewness slightly negative, and slight positive kurtosis. Nothing out of the ordinary though. Same thing for job zone 3, slightly negative skewness and slight kurtosis. Same thing for job zone 4, and we can say the same thing for job zone 5. Moving on to the extreme values, here we can see them all similar in every single job zone. Highest value in first level, 5, 4.3, 4.222, and the lowest levels will be 3.9, 3.59, 3.95 again, 3.6, 3.6, and 3.6. Nothing out of the ordinary. Similarly, the same thing is for job zone 2, job zone 3, job zone 4, and 5, which basically show similar patterns, with the highest being around the high fours and the lower being in uh, the 3.5 or higher three areas. Then we go down to normality, and we can look at the K or the Shapiro. If you want to look at the Shapiro, you can see job zone 1 is not significant, and so is job zone 4, 1 and 4. So since they are not significant, we can assume normality for 1 and 4, but not for 2, 3, and 5, but based on this test. Similarly, for the other normality tests, we could say 1, 2, 4, and 5. We can assume normality, but we cannot for 3 based on this test. However, we do have a large sample size, so we can take those just in consideration. Now we see the histograms for job zone 1. You see some low points here, but we could still see some sort of distribution, normal distribution. Same thing for 2. You see how it goes up and then down, although not fully normal, but go down to job zone 3. We have a little bit more variation here, but you can still see the path. Some skewness, some kurtosis. Same for 4, a little bit more skewness on, a little bit more negative skewness, just a tiny bit. And we see something similar for job zone 5. Just a high value right here, but besides that, everything it looks kind of normal. Then we go down to the QQ plots, which the line, most of the data points are closer to the line. So I'll accept this one. It's a little bit further down the line, but we could assume it's normal. Same thing for job zone 2, very close to the line, except some of these cells which aren't super far off. Same thing for 3, a little bit deviation here, but everything else is pretty close to normality line. Job zone 4, it's pretty close, except this one's a little bit further, which we probably mentioned if this was a study. And the similar thing for job zone 5. Then we go down to the detrended QQ plot. And this basically looks at how far it is from the middle line. So most of the points, well, if they're above 1, you probably have to mention that. But or it's if it was above 1, getting close to 1, say it's not normal. So the highest goes up to like zero point 0.4 and negative zero point 0.3. So they're not super far. Same thing for job zone 2. See how a lot of points are close to the horizontal line at 0, except some outliers here at negative zero point 0.6. Again, um, getting closer to 1, but still kind of further away from it. See similar thing in job zone 3. See similar thing in 4 as well. However, there is a large outlier here at negative zero point 0.8, so maybe we could mention that in a study. Something similar for job zone 5 as well. And yeah, that's it.